Happy New Year and belated Happy New Year by a
while.
good bit. It's your boys for the first time in 2023. It's been a hot minute. It's been a hot couple of minutes, actually.
You can say
to
that.
say the least. But we're back, excited. It's for another year of movies.
Woo.
We thought it'd be fun this episode to, because we're not really believers of New Year's resolutions of ourselves. We both discussed this, that we think they're kind of
Pointless.
to a degree, yeah, and also people end up breaking them anyways. But that being said, considering we do run a film and television podcast, a motion picture podcast, it'd be fun to do one for what we think the entertainment industry should do. Disclaimer, we understand nobody's going to listen to this. We're not out to, start a crusade.
Yeah. No.
Fighting the injustices of Hollywood. But it was just a fun exercise for us.
Mm-hmm.
And also, we didn't have anything to talk about.
We didn't watch the Golden Globes.
Yeah, we didn't watch the Golden Globes. Shout out to the winners.
Shout out to Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Shout out to Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Mm-hmm. Shout out to the Fablemans.
Shout
Steven
out to the
Spielberg,
Fablemans.
getting his legacy award.
Getting his legacy award. I would shout out House of Dragons, but Better Call Saul should have won. But yeah.
That's that. All right. I will let you go first. What do you think?
Do you want a
Hollywood should
spicy
change?
one? Do you want a hot, hard-hitting one, or do you just want a fun one?
Yeah, we gotta keep people's attention right off the bat. So go with your hottest take. Right.
My
off the
hottest.
start.
Well, it's not really hot,
Okay.
but it is a spicy one that I think is definitely an issue, and definitely needs to be addressed. And that is the use of older actors to portray characters under the age of 18. Especially when they are used because the characters are portrayed in a sexualized manner. I'm looking at you, Euphoria. I will call you out straight to your face. I think it is gross. And I just don't see the point, really.
For a second there, I thought you were gonna talk about Robert De Niro in Irishman. The use of old actors.
I did say, do you want a hot one? Do
Yeah.
you want a serious one, or do you want a fun one? I was going to go a fun one, but you wanted the serious one.
So I think to that point, it's counterpoint. It's a practical issue. There
Yes.
are labor laws
Yes.
about
I
child
understand.
actors.
I understand why older actors are used. It makes sense to me. You get more shooting. You get more shooting hours. You don't have to hire teachers. You don't have to hire caretakers. You don't have to hire the stupid parents.
You don't have to find twins.
Yeah, you don't have to find twins in some cases. So I understand that it's just easier to work with 18-year-olds because it's just like, hey, you're going to work a 14-hour day. Get over it.
Yeah.
Um,
You don't need school anymore.
whereas with kids, it's like, okay, we can only have you 8 hours and you have to be home by 8.
Mhm.
So I understand that. When it's like, Ned's Declassified. It's using 18-year-olds. Sweet Life of Zack and Cody or Wizards of Waverly Place. They're like 17, 16, 18. That makes sense. That's understandable. But when it's 30-year-olds playing 16-year-olds and they're all naked, that's where I draw the line.
So I think it comes more down to creative team behind it. Because on the one hand, I'm thinking, first off, sex sells just across the board.
Correct.
That's generally agreed upon rule. As much as an individual person might say it doesn't work on me, the population is made up of individual people who will disagree with that regardless. And so you can anticipate that, especially early on in a season of a show, right? All the nudity and all the sexual content is always front loaded to episode 1 and 2. It'll never appear again until maybe the finale.
Game of Thrones.
Basically, that's how every HBO show works. I even think in the case of Euphoria, one of the actresses made a public statement saying that she wanted less nudity in the show.
Wasn't it Sydney Sweeney?
Yeah. And so
That poor girl.
like when the actors have to call out the creative team to be like, hey, please do less of this.
Well, that was Amelia Clark's whole thing too, which is, you know, completely different topic. But her thing was like, okay, when she re-signed for like season 3 or something, she's like, I'm not doing sex ever in this show.
Mm-hmm. It probably gets gratuitous for the actors after a certain point.
It's also just kind of embarrassing, I'd imagine.
I don't think that's off topic because Daenerys is supposed to be like a teenager, actually.
Yeah.
In the books too, which
Oh,
was
that's a good point.
intentional
Yeah.
on George R. R. Martin's part. He wanted you to be uncomfortable. I don't know if that is ever established in the show or not, though. But in the books, absolutely. But yeah, no, I think that is actually something a lot more people are expressing.
And it bothers
They're
me too
disgust with.
for 2 reasons. One, you know, we're trying to stop these predators in the world. Whether that's in the industry, which there's a lot of, unfortunately,
Mm-hmm.
or just, you know, how the other half, the other half, the how, non-Hollywood people. But also, aren't we supposed to be like promoting body image and self-confidence? And it's like, if you don't look like Alexa Demi at 16 years old, something's wrong with you.
I had that conversation with a friend recently where I had said something about like how romanticizing a topic is the exact opposite of having empathy for it. And how a lot of these high school dramas are trying to portray teenagers the way they want to be seen and
Yeah.
end up portraying an unrealistic version of it, which is good for drama, but it's terrible when you're an actual kid who is now almost
Watching
looking up to these
that
people.
show. Yeah.
And how sometimes there are like the specific thing that we were talking about was how, you know, a lot of these shows portray LGBT characters because there are LGBT
They just want
teenagers,
representation. Yeah.
who want to be able to see themselves reflected in the media that they watch.
Sure.
One of the issues oftentimes is that when you're high school age, you almost certainly aren't going to be comfortable with your sexuality at that point. Very few kids in high school, and I was in Gay Straight Alliance, there are very few people who are either outright like they know something is up and they have questions about it, or they are outright openly expressive towards it.
Yeah.
These high school dramas tend to just portray the people who are super comfortable, super confident about who they are. And that really doesn't exist. And it can give a false expectation about what you should act like or what you should be like. Oftentimes they're portraying like an adult version of it and just projecting it onto a teenager. And in my experience, it's just not the case.
Doesn't seem to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's
It,
I feel like the way that we handle teenagers
in general.
in general
Yeah.
needs to be a little re-examined. Oddly enough, I think last handful of years, people have done fantastic with middle schoolers. We got 8th grade.
Yep.
We got Turning Red. Like, great media for like middle school age, but like high school is just like
look, it's a
absolute
weird
clusterfuck.
threshold because it's like you're turning into an adult and you're starting to experience these adult things in life, right? Like just stuff that adults feel.
Having
But it's
responsibilities.
still like these are still under 18-year-olds.
They're still stupid
They're
kids.
still stupid. I mean, like 22-year-olds are stupid
Yeah,
kids,
yeah.
you know? So it's kind of like, it's just this weird gray area that we seem to have where it's
Mhm.
like, I don't know.
We don't know what to do.
It's always, I don't know. It's always bothered me.
What, in
to
your
a degree.
opinion, is the most accurate depiction of high school, and why was it Freaks and Geeks?
I mean, that's a good one for sure. Of high school,
Mm-hmm.
super bad. They're like 18, I think, in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Except for Christopher Mintz-Plasse, he's like, I think he's 16 in that movie. Because he was definitely underage because his mom had to be there for the sex scene. The sex scene.
That's funny. Yeah. I don't know. I don't really watch a lot of movies at the very least. There's a ton of television, let me tell you. And Riverdale is not on that list in terms of most accurate. Honestly,
Because even if you think like something like Friday Night Lights, right? Which
Yeah.
we both love Friday Night Lights, the TV show. It's like, how many of those characters do you actually know of?
Yeah, they were definitely far more mature for their age and a lot more. I think there's an argument to be made that people in different situations, especially in the case of Friday Night Lights, people in entirely different socioeconomic circumstances than, the average person in suburbia.
Yeah.
They're not going to have those kind of responsibilities that somebody in that circumstance will have. And so it's a completely different, task put upon you that you have to be responsible towards. And so oftentimes you might expect that person to be a little bit more mature for their age.
Yeah.
That being said, like in the finale of Euphoria where they put on a school play to call a girl out on cheating, and it's like, you would probably be arrested in real life if you did that. No parent,
Yeah.
regardless of if they were your child or not, would stand for that. That is
Yeah.
just like embarrassingly immature, not just in universe, but that any creator, any writer, Sam Levinson, thought that was
Okay.
okay.
Yeah.
Not just okay, but plausible enough to be dramatic. It's dramatic, but it's not
Yeah,
plausible.
I'm willing to suspend disbelief, and that is that's some
Stretching
pretty
it a bit.
that's a pretty good suspension there.
But honestly, for as hot a take as that is, I think a lot of people agree. I think that you're
I
gonna.
don't think it's a
find lot
hot
of
take,
people-
but it is definitely an issue that I'm starting
That's
to
true.
notice more and more. Especially because, like, when we grew up, we didn't have social media, so it wasn't like... I mean, we had social media, but it's not to the degree that, like...
Yeah.
I mean, like, my 10-year-old cousins have TikTok and Instagrams, and it's
Mhm.
like... Damn.
Yeah. Also, when we were growing up, the more quote unquote mature teen dramas, we didn't have streaming services and programs, or at least, cable like HBO was still catering more towards actual adult
Adults,
content.
Yeah.
And so the actual teen dramas that we had around, be it like Gossip Girl, for example, or I remember Hellcats, it's like, well, it's like there was still an element of the characters being sexually active in those shows,
Yeah.
but they were still network television. Like, they had a line that they couldn't cross, and so it never got gratuitous. And you might look back at it and be like,
This is
why
not
did we
enough.
ever allow this? Not just that this isn't enough, but why would we ever allow this to begin with? You
Yeah.
know, trying to think, okay, if these are high school age kids, I still feel uncomfortable watching this. But to an extent, at least there was a limit to them. Now that everyone has access to every streaming service, and you can put whatever you want in your show on a streaming service, because there really is no content moderation.
Yeah. That's the degree we
You
used
can
to
get away with,
doing anything.
doing anything
Literally
you
anything.
want. Yeah. It's opened positive doors, but in the case of this topic, I think, maybe cut back on the child pornography a little bit, on the wistful thinking on your part.
It's,
What was your fun one though? If that's your spicy.
award shows should be less formal.
Oh, absolutely. Are you just saying that because of clips of people
Yes,
drunk?
100%. 100%. When I saw the clip of the two House of Dragons, like one of them, they're holding each other and they're like trying not to.
They're
like,
just swaying back and forth.
yeah, they're like trying not to fall off the stage. I was like, we need more of this.
Be
And then when
less formal.
Is it Suzanne? Susan Wu, the everything.
Yeah,
Um,
not Suzanne, Stephanie.
Stephanie. I knew it started with an S. When she was just straight up like, turn the music off. I will fight you. And that is not a joke. I was like, we need more of this. Well, first off, award shows, when I say award shows should be less formal, they just need to stop taking themselves so seriously. Okay? And what I mean by that is, let the people talk. We're not here to see Jimmy Kimmel do a 25-minute skit. We're not here for Wanda Sykes to somehow think she has a career still. We're not here for Amy Schumer to do whatever the hell Amy Schumer does.
Spider-Man.
Let's just we're not here to, praise Brad Pitt. Shout out to Brad Pitt. Well, I don't know if shout out to Brad Pitt's PR team. We probably shouldn't do that. They're definitely putting in work. On the Globes. That's for sure.
Earning their paycheck.
But like the whole reason we watch these award shows, I don't know if
Is there a reason we
not
watch
really
them?
people watch them anymore. But the whole reason they exist is to celebrate the people who are nominated and win these awards.
It's
And
the
when
industry
you are like,
celebrating
you only have 20 seconds to thank everybody in your life, whoever got you on the stage. It's like,
Mhm.
no, like, who cares if this is a 4-hour run? Half the people, 98% of people are gonna end up watching the speeches on YouTube anyways.
Yeah. The only ones that really count are the best lead actor and lead actresses and director. Those are the only, and best picture.
Yeah,
Those
and
are
it's
the only
like
ones anyone really ever pays attention to.
nobody, like the productions designer deserves more than 20
Yeah.
seconds and a spot over the commercial break to thank everybody. Like, this is his one time to be in front of a goddamn camera. Let him have his moment.
I say they mix it
Or her.
up. When you win your award, you walk on stage. You're not just giving your award, but you're also given a prompt, an improv prompt, and you have to incorporate that into your thank you speech, like a certain phrase, or like you have to do it with
Or
an
like
accent.
a Mad Lib.
Yeah.
That'd be dope. Yeah, I would like that. Just make it fun. Just make it fun. And this is how you get people
Just make it fun to
engaged.
watch. Just make it fun to
Yeah,
watch.
if you make it fun to
Yeah.
watch, people will watch your show. Guess what? People like entertaining television. They're not
Who would've
doing much. They're not doing much on a Sunday night in February, anyways. So give them something fun to watch.
Who would have thunk?
Though you should be watching The Last of Us. But that's just my take.
No, that's
Just like,
understandable.
just make this stuff fun.
I think make them shorter.
We're making movies. They're making movies for crying out loud. Like, it's not, I don't know, best kept lawn of the cul-de-sac.
Yeah.
Like, this is supposed to be a fun industry.
I think they should make them shorter. That's what I think personally. Cut out more hosting
Yes.
and just do announcing the awards. And then you can have your speech, play some music, cut out all the songs.
Yeah, I'm done with these performances.
Cut out hosts introducing people who walk out to then present an award. I hate when they do that, where the host walks out, says a joke, and then says, oh, by the way, here are 2 more people to tell more jokes before you actually get to the award. Cut all that out. Actually, just stop award shows. Make it a list that you just post online. Don't even post nominees. Do it like the Nobel Prizes, where you don't even have a short list.
Hey, guess what? It's out.
Yeah, you just, one day it's just, boom, this movie is Best Picture. Who else was nominated? Emmy?
The entire
We'll never know.
400 movies
Yeah.
that were made this year.
They should make any movie ever eligible for an Academy Award at any point in time.
And this year's winner is Old by M. Night Shyamalan.
This year's winner is Wings. It wins twice now. First and last movie.
And best musical score goes to Cats.
The Broadway play. Yeah. Just do something like that. That's pretty funny. All right.
What's yours? You said you have one.
Well, I
Or
can
two.
I can divide them into 2.
Divide them into 2. Let's do that.
First one is specifically streaming related,
I like where we're going.
specifically Netflix related.
I like where we're going.
And that is to stop canceling everything. Be more
Yes.
specific about what you greenlight. Then you don't have to cancel things just because you don't think it works out halfway through production.
Yeah.
And it's I don't even get what their business model is anymore.
Do they even know what their business
Do they even know what it is
Let's
anymore?
be real.
I know that there's probably a write-up somewhere that is like, here's the exact way that they want to greenlight these specific amount of shows. This specific many will go into production. And they're basically just throwing anything at the wall to see if it sticks, it seems like.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
What I find issue with is when it feels like the publicity that these shows get, either while they're in production or once they have a season on Netflix, plays no part in it. It doesn't matter if there is high ratings, if there is viewership, if there is community engagement online, they will just cancel indiscriminately across the board. And they have to figure out a better way. They can't keep getting away with this. There has to be a better way. And I can't suggest anything other than just be more careful.
Yeah.
It's so when they started doing Netflix originals, they were probably extremely precise about what they were going.
Yeah, there was a whole. I mean, House of Cards, which is probably still the best Netflix original, at least the first 2 seasons, was like the very first example of Netflix's, like, how Netflix used their algorithm to produce a show.
Mm-hmm.
And I was reading an article on it, or I was given an article in school, and I read the article, and I was like, wow, this is gonna change the world. They're like, we're gonna target these demographics, like this actor, and they like this content, and they like, these things, and they like these storylines, and it's like, holy shit, we're doing some crazy stuff now. But now it's just literally just like, all right, let's just throw darts at a dartboard.
I think it changed with Stranger Things. I think because Stranger Things hit basically the 4 quadrants when they probably didn't expect it to, and became such an insane popular show that they have now tried a mixed bag, where now we'll have the specific shows for specific, the algorithm generated ideas for these specific quadrants. But now, every now and then, we want to do a big push for something that is just going to
Massive.
Absolutely stick. Wednesday, for example, was actually a success on Netflix's part.
Yeah.
Insanely popular.
Yeah. But it feels like, too, with Netflix, and we could talk for Netflix for, we have talked about Netflix for hours. But it feels like they also try to it's like a cog, right? Like, it's their own machine where they release something, and because they release it, everybody's like, oh shit, did you see this? This is a new show on Netflix. Did you see this new show on Netflix? And they try and use that to hype everything up instead of, potentially the
Actual
other way
marketing.
around, where it's like, hey, we got this show. Everybody go watch this show first before we're like, oh, yeah, this is a good show. Like Outer Banks. Outer Banks should not be anywhere near as popular as that show sucks. I got I think I went through 1 episode and I was like, this show is stupid. But yet, because it's Netflix and it's like, oh, Netflix came out with a new original, everybody's got to watch it. And if you don't watch it, you're an idiot. It's like, that just doesn't seem like a very good
it's a
way to
big
do
shame.
things.
And I am actually, my entire perspective on this is particularly from the animation industry. Animation takes an insanely long time to produce, and it is very expensive to produce animated television. It takes a long time. Most people probably don't even think that.
Shout out to every Attack on Titan fan.
Yeah.
Still waiting for the ending.
1 episode is like an entire year.
24 freaking years.
And so it's and more. I see it in animation a whole lot where Netflix will just cancel things in production. Like things don't even get to air at all. And it is just baffling because it's like, okay, now here's this entire cast and crew just now left out to dry. And either the producers and the showrunner can find another studio they can, expand their way into getting on another platform, or they're just now dead in the water because you didn't want to continue spending the money so that you could go produce more seasons of whatever else. It's all one of those things too where it's like there are bad shows that I feel are bad, but clearly they sell.
They hit an audience.
There was that Paradise PD, whatever it was called, that animated show Paradise PD, where it was basically just Reno 911 but animated, but bad. But it they got multiple seasons out of it because people watch it. Apparently, people like stuff like that.
Or when everybody
just discount Family Guy.
Not animated, but when everybody freaked out about Sense8.
Yeah.
So much so that Netflix was like, all right, we'll make a movie to wrap everything up. It's like,
they had
it's
to
not really what we
it.
wanted, but all right. I never even heard of the show prior to everything, but it was kind of crazy. And I was like, dude, it's popping up everywhere.
Yeah.
You would think Netflix would be like, oh, this is a popular show. Let's keep it going.
Nope.
But no, it's just like,
no.
They just don't understand.
Yep. And I still don't.
And what's funny is the golden standard for this, as people interrupt us, HBO is now doing
the same thing.
this. They were the very evil they swore to destroy. Like they just canceled Westworld after Westworld apparently had a resurging season 4. I was told it's very good compared to 2 and 3. And now they're like taking Westworld off the app, which is like, no, you are supposed to be the shining beacon of how to do a streaming service properly, and yet you cannot. And it just makes no sense what HBO is doing.
Yeah.
Because even like Disney, it has its own machine, but it's for the Disney adult.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean,
So that makes sense. It's like, yeah, I don't watch superhero movies, but for people who do, it like there's a market for that, and that makes sense.
the thing too is that within the last 2 years, there was a lot of movement at the top levels of a lot of these studios.
Yeah.
I mean, just look at Discovery,
Yeah.
right? Everything that they did throughout the last year, it's like so insane. And so I think that a lot of studios, a lot of production studios and distributors too ended up either closing, folding, or being folded into larger conglomerates, and it left a lot of production scattered around. And distributors like Netflix, who either picked up material from other places, either didn't weigh the cost of what it would be to try to produce this thing and distribute it at the same time, or they just said, hey, well, you got to get this made, but we'll air it when you have it, but if you can't get it, then goodbye.
Where is Amazon in all this? They have like 2 shows.
They're busy acquiring the comic book industry and then canceling everything there. They did that
Like,
with Comixology.
This is the prime opportunity. No pun intended. Actually, a little pun. No pun intended. This is
No, in 10-year puns. In 10-year puns.
this is the perfect opportunity for them to just, boom, here's a hit show.
Yeah, come back in.
Because HBO is like, HBO will always be a top dog, sure, but they're kind of like coming down after all this BS that they're doing. Netflix, they have like one show that's their cash cow, and it comes out every 6 years.
Yeah.
So it's like, this is a perfect time right now for Amazon just to be like,
That's what we got. Invincible season 2. That's what we want.
we want Blood Meridian.
That's not happening. Yeah, that's not happening. All right. So that's something I hope will change. Please calm down and
Just
get
be
some
cooler.
shows.
Just be cooler.
Get some shows through. Also, let things have season 2s. Maybe,
Whatever happened to that?
Yeah, whatever happened to that?
Like,
It's
let things
so.
go past one season.
If you're gonna do that, then like do the anime route, right? Where there are shows where it's like, yeah, it's just season 1. It's like, it's just, we told our story in 25 episodes. Okay, bye. That's it. We don't need a season 2. But like, these are clearly like franchise shows, right? So they have ongoing storytelling. So maybe let them have ongoing.
Keep going.
You're right. Maybe serialize them a little bit. But nope. They just say, sorry, too costly. We wash our hands and we move on. So yeah, just give us some stuff to watch, man.
Better stuff to watch.
All right, what else you got? What else you got
Let me
cooking
open
in
my
there?
fancy Nancy notebook. Shout out to my mom for getting me for this for Christmas.
Shout out to Isaac's mom.
She's probably not watching this. On the topic of TV shows,
Okay.
2 things.
Mm.
Let's stop splitting our final seasons.
Attack on Titan.
Every TV show to ever exist ever does this.
Mm-hmm.
If you take a year off, call it a new season. Looking at every single TV show to ever exist.
Attack on Titan.
And also, let's not have like 1.5 times the normal amount of episodes we've had in a season.
Yeah.
looking at every show ever to exist, including Attack on Titan.
Yeah.
Because that's just stupid. It's just dumb. Like, why is like The Sopranos?
Mm-hmm.
Every episode, every season 1 through 5 is 13 episodes, or I think it's 13 or 12, something like that.
Mm.
Then the last season, it's 6. It literally says 6A and 6B, both on the discs and on HBO. And it's 24 episodes. Just call it 6. Just call it 6 and 7. Episode 7, season 7 is 5 episodes, whatever. What are we doing here? I'm sure there's some like contract reason, financial reason, something that does that. And it pisses me off even more because Netflix is starting to experiment with splitting a season but only having like a 2-month break. They did it with Ozark this last year. They did it with Stranger Things. And it's just like either push everything back,
Mm-hmm.
just have them all come at once,
Mm-hmm.
or just drop the last episodes a whole year later. But don't do the second one. Just do the first one.
I know we've talked about this before, and I still will
Silly.
offer the same solution. I think we should all move to the British method of just
6 episodes, hour and a half.
as few, just as few episodes as possible, 6 being the minimum. Take as long a break between seasons as you need.
Yeah.
Right? What's that quote where it's like a delayed game will always be good, but a rushed game will never.
Will be bad.
Will be bad
or
forever.
something like
Yeah.
that.
So like if you have some production issues, just take your time. Have some faith in your creators. And
Yeah.
I know that there's also been a debate I've seen online about like are filler episodes good
Yes.
or are they bad? I am personally of the no filler whatsoever. Give me just as succinct storytelling as possible. But also at the same time, I know that filler is what makes shows like Lost and
Buffy the Vampire
Buffy
Slayer.
the Vampire
Tell me
Slayer
you
good.
haven't watched Buffy the Vampire
So
Slayer.
it's like-
without telling me.
So it's like, yeah, to a
All
certain
I'm saying is
degree.
the best episodes of Buffy are the filler episodes.
Sometimes it gets exaggerated where you
Dragon Ball
have
Z.
like, because shows like Supernatural or even Game of Thrones would feel like that entire season is just filler, my guy, you know? So it's like,
The good stuff isn't till the end.
yeah, maybe you could just, have more faith in your ideas and not have to just put this crap out. But no, I love the just like, all right, neat and tidy, quick and dirty. There it is. We got it. Move on. Find something better to watch.
I agree.
That's my opinion, though. All right. I guess I'll move on to my final topic of discussion. Strap in. So,
I'm ready. Let me put the notepad on the notebook.
so
It's gonna be good. Oh, he put out the notes too. This is gonna be so good. I'm so excited.
2 pieces of media came out recently that caught my attention.
Two.
The first is a movie called Megan, which is about a robot who goes on a rampage.
Okay.
And the second is a HBO show called Velma, which
Uh-oh.
is a reinterpretation, you could say,
Are we gonna get canceled?
of Scooby-Doo.
I think we're gonna get canceled.
My New Year's resolution for Hollywood is not directed at creators. I
Oh.
am taking issue with fans and with commentators, people
I'm with it.
who talk about and criticize media online. Social media, we have the ability to share our opinions just across the board. Any random person can
Ew.
say any bullshit on Twitter and go viral for it.
And it was a mistake.
And that was absolutely a mistake.
need
We
to
should
go-
not have
we need to
ever
go-
given ourselves that
we
right.
need to go back.
But that's just the world we live in now. So let's make do with what we have and try to educate ourselves a little bit. So with these 2 works of art, I've noticed a common thread between the 2 of these in terms of the reaction to them, how people are talking about them online. And it really highlights something that I have been struggling to articulate for a while. But I feel like now that these two medias have caused these frenzy that they have, I have the words to say it. So, first off, there is such a thing as rage bait. I think the YouTuber Sarah Zed, she's Canadian, so is Sarah Z for all of us south of the border, has a video called Sacrificial Trash, where she talks about how sometimes if a piece of media in production doesn't seem like it's going to turn out too hot, you can kind of manufacture a reaction to it ahead of time, because at the end of the day, regardless of if somebody is watching something because they loved it
Or they hate it.
or watching it because they hated it, a view is a view.
The only bad publicity is no publicity.
Yeah. And I think that we, as audience members, that is both me as a human and Isaac and anybody else watching this and all the millions of people not watching this, need to be a little bit smarter about the fact that rage bait exists, that there are things that are actually marketed in a way that it's intended to make you angry.
Yes.
I have absolutely no doubt that every executive at HBO was like, yeah, no, this Velma show, this is dumb, this is crap, right? Make it as edgy as possible and try to offend as many people as possible, because it's not getting a season 2. So just
go all the way.
Go all in and just get us the views we need, and then get the hell out of my office. I wouldn't doubt if that was actually the case, because you can't look at the reaction that people are having online and just be like, I get the feeling that this is actually what was intended. That this is actually entirely the response that they wanted people to have.
You think it was Mindy calling, being like, I want to call out people. I want to show people the monster that they really are.
That's why it's sacrificial trash. Yeah. It's like, look, this is the reaction that this kind of content is going to get, and we sacrifice this media in order to highlight that.
Yeah.
The case that Sarah Zed gives in her video is of an animated show that had a very strong, not just not just queer themes, but an actual like trans storyline, and people were hating on the show for its diversity before an episode even aired. And she's like, "Yep, that is exactly what it is. It's just there is the people who." That's a market. It's there. They're gonna watch your stuff. So by all means, you can cater to them as much as you want. But the ideas behind why they're watching it probably isn't that good.
Not what you were hoping for.
Yeah, not what you're hoping for.
Yeah.
But that's Velma. Megan, the film Megan, comes into play. Because I saw a lot of people confused about whether this film was supposed to be funny or not. It's about a robot of a little girl who goes haywire, starts murdering people.
But she murders the people that are trying to hurt the girl, right?
Yeah.
Or something like that?
Yeah.
Like she's a bodyguard of some sort?
But they're, like, can you take that seriously? This doll murdering people?
I mean, my mom is traumatized at Chucky, so I think we can take. I think we can take a doll seriously.
What this made me realize is how bad we are at talking about not just the intention behind art, but our reactions to art. And I think Velma highlights this in a way where most people probably don't know how they're supposed to react to art to begin with. The fact that so many people were so quickly outraged that nobody stopped to think, wait a second. Why are we outraged at this?
Yes.
To begin with. And not only that, but is that the fact that so many people were outraged at once, is that not possibly what was intentional? If Marvel released a trailer tomorrow that said, Avengers 4 or whatever, people would go crazy for that, because that's the intended reaction they want you to have. Why is it any different when somebody releases something and it pisses everybody off? Is that not supposed to be the intended reaction that you're supposed to have? So at the end of the day, if something is making so many people angry, just assume that that's the intention, that it is just rage bait there to make people mad, and then move on with your life. Don't get sucked in. Don't hate watch it, because that just is playing into what they want. And if you don't want to support something like that, by all means. If you don't mind supporting something like that, chances are you've already watched at least one episode of Velma.
We as people need to learn that not everything is for everyone.
Yeah.
Like,
not everything has to be for everyone. It
drives me up a wall when, like, I don't even, like...
People who
we don't like Marvel movies. I will never... When people ask me, do you like Marvel movies? No. Why don't you like them? Well, this is why. I will never go out of my way to be like, oh, Marvel movies are garbage and this and that. And I can't believe... Like, I will never comment on something like, oh, you know, this is bad, whatever. It's just like, they're not for me. I'm not the target demographic.
Yeah.
And I can recognize that. And I don't want to watch it.
Yeah.
And it's like, we need to be okay with saying that.
Mm-hmm.
And also, to go on that, to kind of supplement or complement that.
Yeah.
To piggyback at that, thank you. We just need better media literacy.
Oh, yeah. So,
like, there was so much uproar. And your whole rant just reminded me of The Last of Us. Like, there's so much uproar about The Last of Us 2 as a video game. Because, spoiler. Well, maybe I shouldn't have spoiled. Probably. I'll edit that one out.
Spoiler in like the first 30 minutes of the game.
Well, people might be watching the show only.
That's fair.
I'll definitely edit that one out. But
something happens in the first 30.
There's something that happens in the second one. People are very upset with it. They're upset with the certain characters, whatever. And it's like people will go out of their way to trash the game when it's like you're trashing the game for the wrong reasons. And I'm not even saying there's reasons to trash the game. I'm just saying, like, you need to understand what the story they're trying to tell. They're not trying to make... Like, that's the whole point, is there's not a happy ending.
Yeah.
In both of the games, there's not a happy ending.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like an ending. And that's the reason. Is like you're not supposed to feel good about the ending, but this audiences, they wanted this happy ending between these characters, and this happened and whatever happened, and it's like, just stop being stupid. Just understand what the creators were trying to go for. It's really not that difficult to understand. You might not like it, but that's the point.
Yes. Because one thing I'm realizing is that a lot of people who talk about art online, talk about media online, regardless if it's film, television, video games, or even books, sometimes it seems they fail to understand that, like, if you watch something and you go, this is pretty funny, but I don't think this was intended to be funny. No, it was intended to be funny. That's why you thought it was funny. That's why that's the first thing that came to your mind, my guy. Like, you have to just as much trust that the artist had an intention and knew what they were doing. You have to trust yourself to be able to actually understand what's going on and process what's happening, and trust your reaction to it. That is what I'm finding out a lot of people can't do. You can't trust your reaction to something. And that's often why, because, like, for example, there are, like, certain, like, entire movies where, like, I would think it's funny, but people would be like, how could you laugh at something like this? And I'm like, I don't know. To me, this is funny. I don't know how else to say it. I don't know. I can't describe it. And then there's some stuff where people are like, this is hilarious. And I'm like, really? You think you find this funny, my guy? I remember, like, I was talking to my dad. Hey, Dad, I know you're watching this. He and I one time talked about, like, Woody Allen, and how when you're watching a Woody Allen movie, like, it's almost like you're watching a serious drama.
Yeah.
And he said one time he was a huge Woody Allen fan back when it was okay to be a fan of Woody Allen. And he went to see one of his movies in theaters. He's like, I've never seen a Woody Allen movie in theaters. I'm going to go see it in theaters. And he was like, people were laughing. Like, they found this stuff funny. And it's like, yeah, it's funny, but it's like there's more to it than that. Like people got to pay attention to stuff like that. And it's like what most people don't understand is that both of those reactions are completely valid.
Yeah.
But they're also completely separate thing from what Woody Allen intended. And understanding that just because you feel a certain way about something doesn't mean that that work of art didn't accomplish what it was setting out to do. Right? How many times have we listened to an album and, you know, you're like, I get what you're saying on this, but I don't like the way it sounds.
Yeah.
That's basically what's happening here. I don't like what you're doing in this movie, but I
can recognize
get
what you're trying to do.
What you're trying to do,
Yeah.
you know? People just conflate those two far too easily. And I don't like seeing that happen. I don't know if I coughed or if my voice cracked there. Sorry about that.
It's
This leads into a far larger point about media literacy, where people just have to understand that when it comes to talking about intention and your reaction to a work of media, it's supposed to be intuitive. It's supposed to be basically not necessarily on instinct, I want to say, but give the artist some credit where it's due. Art is a lot more intuitive than people give it credit for, I'm learning.
Yes.
Like, the people would often talk about the example of being like when the teacher was reading a story and would be like, oh, the curtains are blue because they represent the inner sadness of the character trapped by their depression. And, you know, the student is like, well, you also could have just said they were green. You could have said they were red. Just because they're a color doesn't mean they mean anything.
Yeah.
No, we as humans assign meaning to things around us, and we understand that the color blue is associated with
sadness.
tears, with sadness.
Mm-hmm.
The writer didn't even have to intend that. They didn't even have to think that.
It's just subconscious.
It's just so intuitive to how we view our own lives and create personal narratives that we will do that. It's why we can say, especially when we talk about music, that major chords are happy and minor chords are sad. That is not a fixed law, and you don't have to feel that way. But we intuitively understand that about music. And that's why pop songs are in major chords and, you know, sad piano ballads are in minor chords. And it's like, nobody questions that about music, but for some reason when they're reading it in the book or they're watching it in the movie, they're like, I don't know about this. You can't possibly have meaning in art all of a sudden. It's like, no.
Art has always had meaning.
Art has always had meaning. We have to take a step back as film critics and as viewers and understand how to find it, how to feel about it, how to talk about it. I don't think that I don't believe in this idea that there are an infinite number of interpretations of a work. I don't think anybody who even remotely takes themselves seriously holds that point of view. That, you know, oh, well, if two people have different interpretations of something, then any interpretation is as good as any other one. It's like,
No.
You can feel a certain way about something, and that is certainly unique to yourself. But when you're trying to discuss what a work means, there is material there for you to actually point at and say, look, this is included because it means this.
Yeah.
Feel whatever way about that you want. But by all means, go to the text. You know? It's like, I don't know, man. That's what irked me about Velma the most. I don't even have to watch a single episode of the show because it doesn't matter if it's good or bad. What matters is the fact that you all are suckers who got duped into hating on this thing without even stopping to think, you know? And it's like...
Or giving it a chance.
Or giving it a chance, yeah, to begin with. Because
we
what's funny
always
is that...
want more original ideas, and then when we get an original idea, it's like, oh, well, you know, this isn't how I remember it in the 1950s.
Yeah.
It's like, well,
Yeah.
no shit, it's 2023. Like,
Pretty much,
things are gonna change.
2 more points, and then that's honestly those are my only 2 things. 2 points. First off, when it comes to the show Velma in particular, a lot of people were pointing out about how it had an inaccurate representation of panic attacks, and how the Puss in Boots movie actually had a more accurate representation of panic attacks. I think there's a bit of a low blow. Don't know if that is really the common trait between the two of those movies. Don't think that really is what we should be comparing and contrasting between the two.
That sounds like something Twitter would get upset about.
I saw that on Twitter.
Yeah.
Second thing I'm going to say, a lot of people are upset at Mindy calling for Velma. And they've been doing the thing that they do where they go back through her past tweets and her past,
oh my God,
interviews.
Get a lie.
And they point out problematic stuff.
Jeez Louise.
Here's the thing.
Lives.
Honestly, at this point, we just have to accept that it's too little too late. If anything, the only thing this teaches us is that we were horrible at catching this stuff when it was presenting to us the first time around. Just accept the fact that we didn't know what to look for. Now we do. Moving forward, we can do that. Cool. You're not going to cancel Mindy Kaling because of something she said in 2014.
No.
But any dumb thing she says going forward, yeah, now you know what to look out for. Be fine with that. She's done enough work with The Office. She's not going anywhere. Seriously. So, yeah. Grow up. I don't know what else to say.
Why do people feel entitled?
For two reasons.
Because we even see it in like video game enjoyers, where it's like, oh well, Halo 343, they haven't released a new map in 6 months. It's who cares? Like, does this really bother you enough? Do you need to go on Reddit and complain about it?
Yeah, dude, StarCraft
all the time.
StarCraft 1 hasn't had a patch since it was released, and people still play that professionally.
It's
the perfect game.
Let's get mad at Bungie, but let's not talk about our, Congress being in landlocked for 6 days because they can't agree on a single goddamn thing. It's like, this is entertainment. Like, at the very let's have like I get we want to have a standard, and we need to have, obviously this is stuff we enjoy, so we should have taste to a degree.
Yeah.
But it's also like, my guy, take a step back, relax. It's not the end of the world that the Division 2 is getting a new free DLC. Like, you don't enjoy the Division, guess what? You don't have to play it. You don't like Velma? Guess what? You don't have to watch it. You don't like Bella Ramsey as Ellie in The Last of Us? You're an idiot. But you're entitled to that opinion.
Yeah.
You're still an idiot.
Yeah.
But, like, just don't watch it. Like, I don't understand why we always have to comment on every single thing that... And, like, I've been guilty of it, sure. But, like, it's time to grow up.
So...
Like, as a collective...
Yeah.
We are in a society.
Let's work together to be nicer
as
about
everyone.
things that
Let's just grow up and just acknowledge that we don't... Like, we're not the target audience for everything.
I had 2 points and I lost them.
Apologies.
No, it's fine. Just re-go through your entire rant again, and I'll remember at the exact same point that I thought of it.
Because it's like, Emily in Paris. Not my cup of tea. I'm not going to shit on anybody who watches it.
Yeah.
Like, if you're a 30-year-old man enjoying Emily in Paris, kudos to you. It will not be me.
Yeah, all the more power to you.
You will not catch me watching Emily in Paris.
If you were a brony, all the more power to you, my guy. Honestly, respect.
You will catch me watching, like Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Like, I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
I'll watch that.
Man, I had a point and I completely forgot what it was. I'm going to remember it as soon as we turn everything off now.
I'll put it in the comments.
I'll type it in the comments.
But
honestly, I don't know. I think to a certain extent, as viewers, as audience members, we're
getting too entitled.
Yeah. Oh, I think one of the comments that you said that reminded me of something. There was a quote that was like, having no opinion on something is the exact same as having no taste. So like, be glad that you have an opinion on something, because that means that you know what you like and what you don't like.
Sure.
Just understand that there is a machine that is the industry, the entertainment industry, that is designed to produce a product. And that product is supposed to be half creative imagination, originality, and half designed to sell to specific
show and business.
Yeah, there is show and there is business. Once you accept that, you will be way more comfortable just finding the weird little stuff that you enjoy.
Yeah.
And just being content with that. Because there are TV shows that nobody else is going to watch except for you, but you're going to enjoy the hell out of them. And yes, Life and Times of Tim was the best thing HBO ever did. And yes, it took them nearly a decade to do a season 2, but you bet I was so excited for that. But that's just the power of, once you find what you like, be grateful, my guy, It's like, you don't have to. They feel entitled because, well, I enjoyed the game so much. I should enjoy the show, shouldn't I? Just play the game again,
Yeah.
It's like Jay-Z said. It's like, yeah, if you like I like how the old Jay-Z sounds. Like, yeah, we'll go listen to those albums then, my guy. I don't know. It's one of those things where we're not at some great big turning point where I think everyone is going to suddenly flip opinions and we're going to understand how to talk about this stuff.
If anything, it might get worse.
But I definitely think that... I think I remember my point.
It's a cold world.
I think I remember my point. Because social media has allowed unmitigated opinions to just rise to the top of the discussion, irregardless of what that discussion is, or who that person is, or how engaged with the material their opinion actually is. There is a line where people who want to stand out and say, look, come to me and I will express an opinion, and you can filter your opinion through mine, and then you can kind of gauge how you feel about this material. Those people are called critics. I feel like their responsibility, whether they are, legitimate critics published in, say, magazines or newspapers or on websites, or they are hobbyists like everyone on YouTube, such as ourselves, we have the responsibility to see above what everyone else is saying. And I honestly think that there are a lot of people who just fail to do that, because the biggest issues that people are finding in media aren't the real issues at play. The issue with Velma is not the fact that they made it edgy or the fact that they made it, diverse. It's the fact that HBO felt like they had the authority to just reinterpret Scooby-Doo to begin with, Yeah. Or that they could, throw a crew together who probably didn't have any connection to the original material. And guess what? We don't need a dark and edgy and mature Scooby-Doo anymore. We have Mystery Incorporated. They already did that. And they did it perfectly the first time around, my guy, Like, we don't... Like, that is really what I think people are missing the point with. And the same would go for The Last of Us. It's like the issue isn't the fact that they, casted these specific people as like a vendetta against you, the helpless audience member. It's like, no, like, they're probably a Nepo baby. I don't know, like, there's always a bigger fish. And I feel like what I want to use the show to, what I've always tried to use the show to do is expose that bigger fish, because I like seeing what people are talking about, because they almost always have no idea what they're talking about. Truthfully, at the end of the day, it's like, you as an audience member, you can only be as engaged as you allow your own biases and opinions to limit you. And there are just things that you aren't going to be aware of. And I don't talk about every movie that comes out. I don't see everything that comes out. But if I can find the very specific ones that I know I have something to say and can point out about, then I feel like I can do a good job.
We'll do that.
And that is why
tried to do that.
That's what we try to do here.
Yeah, some of these YouTubers are starting to get
Annoying.
looking at you, Cosmonaut Variety Hour.
Looking at you, critical drinker.
They are, yeah.
So that's
They're starting to feel themselves a little too much.
Yeah.
Calm down, bro. You're on YouTube. Like,
especially because this whole, and to address the elephant in the room, the manufactured outrage around these shows about the, woke culture or these culture wars.
so stupid.
It's one of those things where it's manufactured to be a big deal, so you have to address it. But it's just so not. And finding your way around talking about it where you can both address it and say, yeah, I get, like yes, you are outraged about this, but also there's a larger system at play around this that you don't understand.
Yeah.
More people are probably going to watch Scooby-Doo because they're like, hey, black characters. I want to see more of that.
Gang.
Then people who are going to watch it to be like, I can't believe they made Velma black. Oh. Or Indian, actually. Shaggy was black. But yeah, that's one of those things where I'm like, that's why I don't have any criticism for the show. I only have hatred
For everybody who
is talking about
critique. Also, if you don't watch something, shut up.
Yeah, that's actually a New Year's resolution that I did make for myself. Was if I didn't watch it, there's something to talk about, but it's not going to be the content.
Yeah.
So
I can base my
you
opinion
can't-
on whether or not a show is going to be good off of trailers or material or just stuff I see. And I'm sure I've done this on. I know I've done this on this show.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But I will never say
I have to-
She-Hulk is bad.
yeah,
Like, I haven't seen a goddamn episode of She-Hulk.
yeah. Seriously,
I might not want to watch it because of certain clips I've seen.
well, you
And
don't like
I
Megan
will
Thee
tell
Stallion?
you that straight to your face. Like, I don't want to watch She-Hulk because she starts twerking with Cardi B.
It was Megan Thee Stallion,
Or
actually.
Megan Thee Stallion,
Put some
sorry.
respect.
Sorry, my queen. But it's just like, I don't know if She-Hulk's good. I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
I don't know if any Marvel thing after Endgame is good, besides No Way Home. But I can tell you right now, like, none of them look interesting to me, so I will not care to watch them.
Yeah. So I think do that too. And that's the other thing. Just because you watched a video in which somebody expressed their opinions does not mean you watched the show
Yeah.
or the movie.
Yep.
I'm sorry, Needle Drop fans, but you are not entitled to have an opinion on a piece of art that you didn't personally experience or engage with just because you watched somebody else do it. That's also why I freaking hate that reaction videos are still a thing. Because now reaction videos aren't just, people reacting to funny clips. There are now like an entire genre of reaction video on YouTube where people will react to movies. And they will have like the timer in the bottom.
Cosmonaut.
And it's like, no, please review the movie and encourage people to go and watch it. Like, I'm sorry that I don't care to see your reaction to the scene where Snipe says that he's the Half-Blood Prince, but like, just say, oh, it has a good twist at the end. 10 out of 10.
Feels manufactured too.
Yeah, it's so dumb. I don't know.
Silly. It's a silly world.
Yeah, we're all silly goose. Silly geese.
Let me see if I have anything else.
You got
in my
anything else to
notebook.
say?
Okay. Let's see here. Too many shows and movies with high stakes involved. We need more rom-com and slice of life movies. We just need more fun movies.
Yeah,
And
more
TV
fun
shows.
stuff.
Like, I miss old school rom-coms and comedies where it's like two like mid-30 men are going to be stepbrothers. Let's just put the two funniest actors of this generation together Let's just see what happens. Obviously, jokes and stuff don't
Yeah.
age as well, but like just movies like that. I think we're too scared nowadays to make movies like that. And there's also no money involved in movies like that. So
Not
it's
only
like,
that. Okay.
because even like
I had to crack
I
my
looked-
knuckles for this one.
I liked Booksmart. We've both seen it.
Yes.
I don't think you did like it.
It's mid.
Mid, correct. I enjoyed it, but it's not super bad. It tries to be,
Yeah.
but it does it in a
For
way
sure.
that only Superbad, because Superbad is willing to break through that wall, whereas Booksmart is very much like I'm staying 6 feet away.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like we need to learn to not be scared to make
Yeah.
movies.
There's an argument to be made that maybe that is a boundary that we should set for ourselves.
Sure.
But I also think that if that's the case, you should either address it or traumatize it in a way that is
Yeah.
a little more engaging. But I also didn't like Book Smarts. So,
Yeah.
Okay. Surprise, a new challenger appears. Surprise, third opinion from me. Now, I don't want this to be hypocritical. And I also don't want this to be purposely inflammatory.
Oh boy.
But I do believe in the age of sacrificial trash and rage baiting, and in the age of cancel culture and political correctness. I do fear that we are losing the art of controversy.
Yes.
I think that it is such a shame that once funny comedians such as Dave Chappelle and at one point potentially funny comedians like Ricky Gervais now feel like controversy is equivalent to being a dickhead.
Yeah.
When there are old clips that, and here's the thing, people will always say like, oh, you couldn't make this anymore, you couldn't tell these jokes anymore. Dude, you can go back and watch old stand-up bits from like Bill Hicks or Sam Kinnian, and like as offensive and as horribly aged as they are, they still stand up. Like they actually have aged better because they've gotten more offensive.
Yeah. Anything that George Carlin did.
And it's like there is a line. There is a very fine line between
Sure.
arguably just outright being an idiot and being offensive for the sake of just shock, but also to a certain degree kind of being like the black sheep, kind of saying something that you might think that other people aren't willing to say, and taking the risk to have the audacity to do that. And not only that, but I feel like a big part of what actually makes something, and okay, offensiveness and edginess is off the table for me. This isn't even part of the discussion. I mean controversy in terms of literally just playing against people's expectations. How many times, and video games are, I think, actually probably the biggest offender of this, now that everything is becoming either Fortnite or Dead Space, you know? And it's like, no, you can buck trends. You can, you know, subvert people's expectations and do something completely different. And honestly, that's one of the biggest criticisms I have about the material from Velma that I've seen is I have seen it before, you know? It's nothing new to me. For as edgy as it tries to be, and for as immature as the humor is, I've seen it before, you know? It's nothing new. And so it's like, I feel like we are to a certain degree losing that sense of, you know,
Susan provocative.
yeah, being a bit more, literally being bolder.
Yeah.
Being more provocative about your approach to art. I think that's probably one of the things that I loved about Everything Everywhere All at Once was that they were just like, bam, here we are, love us or GTFO, you know? And I love that attitude. And I just feel like I want to see more of that from artists. I don't care if you're like, again, nothing to do with being offensive, nothing to do with edgy humor, nothing to do with shock value. I feel like you don't have to incorporate that in order to, you know,
Be different.
to subvert expectations that people have either about your presentation or your content. But I just wish I saw more of it. And I feel like what keeps that from happening is things get canceled before they can even get off the ground. Or people are honestly just scared of negative.
They're too
backlash.
worried about fan reactions.
Yeah.
Which is a good point you bring up, because that's how we get these good works of art. Is
Yeah.
This willingness to be like, yo, you're doing what now? Like,
Yeah.
you're making a movie, you're making a TV show about a mob boss?
There
And you're
is.
starring like an ugly, overweight 40-year-old man?
Yeah.
It's like that, and any other company that gets you fired.
Yeah.
HBO was like, what do we have to lose? Or a show about nothing that aired for 10 seasons. It was the biggest sitcom of all time.
There is like, I think, again, people are missing the point where it's like, oh, the common argument I think people are making is you couldn't tell jokes like this today, or you couldn't make a movie like this because it'd be too offensive today. I actually feel like that's missing the point. There is probably a far better argument that, like, for example, the Beatles couldn't release an album like Rubber Soul because people are just too afraid of taking that big of a
Too
leap
far.
or a risk nowadays, And that might seem like like it's actually not controversial at all, or it's not provocative at all. But honestly, like, to an extent, I think, yeah, people are afraid of doing that. I feel like people are too willing to be pigeonholed, or too willing to just, think for yourself. All right, you before you are two choices. Give the people what they want.
Red pill, blue pill.
Yeah. Because honestly, give the people what they want, but at the same time, do people even know what they want?
Yeah.
You don't know what you want until, right? What's that phrase? There's just some saying or phrase where it's like, I didn't know that I wanted this until I saw it.
Yeah.
And I feel like we need more of that attitude, where it's like, we're going to give you something you've never seen before. Good. I'm tired of seeing the same 4 high school settings. I'm tired of seeing the same 4 actors and everything. Like, I'm just, yes.
Give us something new.
Give us something new.
Like,
Sorry, Velma, but you are not it.
I mean, a good example in the music is, Drake. He hasn't released an original album in like 7 years.
He hasn't released
People have
anything
tied
he's
him.
willing to call an album in
Yeah.
a while.
Whereas you have an artist like the late, great Mac Miller, who started with frat rap and transitioned into jazzy hip hop. And it's
Mhm.
like, this is the greatest artist of our generation. I can't believe he
Yeah.
died so young. I mean, I don't know if he... Yeah, I was like, I can't believe he died so young. Like, he was going to be the next big thing. Like, we need that.
I feel like the reason why I only take issue with this is because Mac Miller is a great case where if he hadn't allowed himself to transition into literally just doing what he wanted, that is just your evolution as an artist. That is allowing yourself to grow.
Yeah.
And I would worry that people either are, if you're like a musician or a writer, not letting yourself grow artistically, but if you're an actual team behind the project, letting that project grow, letting it evolve and take on a life of its own and move in its own direction, and then just going to the audience and saying, yeah, you like it or you don't. Kristen Bell for Veronica Mars, she said that in an interview one time for Veronica Mars, where she was like, when we did the movie, we wanted to give fans what they wanted to see. But then when we came back to doing the show, we were like, okay, now we're going to do something that we've never seen before. And some longtime fans hated it, but it also brought new fans on. And do you say that's a win? Do you say that's a loss? It's like, at the end of the day, we did what we felt was right, and that's what matters.
Yeah.
It's like, that's a healthy mindset. Good job. You hate to say that that's like something you can congratulate, but it's the bare minimum that you could do. But yeah.
Or like Breaking Bad transitioning from a quasi dark comedy to just full blown serious drama.
Yeah. To
That, like,
full blown just dark.
Leaves you depressed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pretty much. Yeah. That's it. That's literally Better Call Saul.
Yeah.
Where they were like, oh, we want to be funny, but we can't do this dark stuff. Actually, no, screw it. We'll do the dark stuff.
They were leaving a lot on the table. Yeah.
Yeah. So do more of that.
Stop giving us Power Rangers.
Yeah.
Give us our dark and edgy fan-made movie back.
Give yourself more room to grow. Allow yourself to piss people off, and you don't have to be offensive in order to be bold or original. You know.
Yeah.
So
Like The Last Ronin, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles comic.
dude, honestly, yeah, yeah,
Like, all these people that grew up with these fun, you know, like almost light. I don't want to say, yeah, kind of lighthearted, you know, adventures with the TMNT, and then it's like, oh crap, there's this one left, and there's this dark, brooding story about, you know, his vengeance,
yeah,
and it's like, yo, this is like the greatest comic book of all time.
yeah, yeah. Seriously. So definitely there is, and the same thing happened with Batman too. You know,
Yeah.
with Dark Knight Returns,
When they went to,
where it's like, how do you go from Adam West Batman to Christopher Nolan Batman?
Yeah.
It's like, well, somebody had to take the risk at some point.
somebody had to
Somebody
be like,
had to be bold.
some genius over in.
Yeah, you know, pun intended. Batman bold. Yeah. So anyway, that's just one last thing that I feel like more people should take going forward. Have fun with that.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that could be more bold and controversial.
Like your colors. Let us see.
All right, my last one, and then we can go.
Okay.
This one's gonna be good. I think you'll enjoy this one.
Okay.
We do not need a podcast /sequel /spinoff of every mid-2000s show. I saw a trailer for Nazi Classified's podcast, and I was like, you know what? I'm good. Because if I get freaking Ant Farm cast reunion, or, you know,
Ant.
I don't even know. I don't even know what else. Like, yeah, obviously the high staple shows, you know, the high names, bring them back. Wizards of Waverly Place, Avatar: The Last Airbender, Drake and Josh, even though they hate each other. It's like, if you can get those people back, sure. But if I see a sequel for Dog with a Blog, I'm going to freaking lose it. And I know it's coming.
They did it with iCarly.
They did it with iCarly, which, you know, is, you know.
They almost did it with Lizzie McGuire. They didn't follow through on it, but they almost did.
It's like, just let it die, okay? We had our childhood. It's fun to go back,
Yeah.
see what we've seen, but like,
Let the kids today have the original content that we had when we were
Yeah.
growing up. They
But
don't have to watch Lizzie McGuire
like,
Part 2.
Fairly Odd Parents is coming back. Why?
We
It had its run.
we have to let Fairly Odd Parents come back. You don't understand.
But it's not even, it's live action. It's not even animated.
And they can't even make Drake Bell. Timmy.
He's
in jail.
Like, why? Just why do we have? I don't know. It's an issue, and I think it's because COVID had all these, you know, reunions. All these stars started getting back together on Zoom and chatting and stuff like that, and it's like, oh, you know, like Big Time Rush is going on a tour.
Oh, no, they've still been making music. No, that's not
Why?
a comeback. They've been here for years.
Like, okay, maybe that's not the best example,
Jonas Brothers is probably a better example.
but they're brothers. It makes sense.
Are we wrong about this whole thing, actually?
No, but I'm just saying, like, you know,
No, it's totally understandable. No, definitely.
Victorious comes back for a movie, I'm gonna lose it.
I get
Actually, I don't know if I would, because all that cast are pretty big names now.
Here's the thing. Reunions have been done in the past.
Sure.
That's fine. Even freaking Seinfeld had a reunion, and it was during Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
So, like, you can do a reunion.
Just do it right.
You don't have to do a sequel.
Yeah.
Please avoid the sequel. Reunion is fine. Give us, like,
Or a podcast. Don't
an
give
extended
us a podcast.
episode, right? If the episode is 45 minutes long, that's fine. But it's just got to be the one. We just got to see where everyone is. And then move on.
Yeah.
We don't need another Dan Schneider production up in here.
No,
God, no.
we do not. Okay. Well,
Anyway,
that's all my resolutions. Do you have any more?
I came in with 1 and I left with 3.
That sounds
so
like a good day to me.
There you are.
Good day at the office. All right, folks. We'll see you guys next month.
We're a lot more serious about that than I think you're.
We're keeping form.
Yeah.
We'll see you guys sometime
whenever.
Guys and gals, we'll see you.
Hopefully before the Oscars.
Somewhere, eventually. Yeah, we'll probably do the Oscars. Anyways, farewell. Sweet dreams.